Hey there again. This is a really quick video on how to play with scales, and I've got this beautiful example here from Watermelon, who tried to grow this tree +1 with every click. I'm currently on his parcel where we're trying to figure out the best model for the future for the portals of the game. Right, so to play with this, I've got this tree here. So we see the scale x is 1, y is 1, z is 1. So to do this, we'll type in feature because we're talking about the tree, on click because we want to click on it, the event to happen when we click on it. So E, um, curly bracket, make sure you close them. And then also I'm using the script box here because it's a fairly quick script, so it shouldn't be too hard. It doesn't necessitate some really good editing software or whatever. Let's get back on topic. Feature dot scale dot x equal 1. So now what that does is it will set the scale x, so this one, to 1 every time I click on it, which is not what we want. What we want to do is we want to add 1 every time I click. So what you can do is you can type in this, which would take the previous scale and add 1. But this takes a lot of bytes, and again, no. This is just a bit too much writing, and it's not the best way of writing it. What you can do is just add a plus here, and what that does is you've got it automatically adds 1 to the previous state, the previous scale. So let's copy and paste this, add y and z. Cool, so now we've got the whole thing. Let's just refresh the page. There we go. Is that working? Should be working. Alright, so plus, there we go. And it's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing. Wow. Oh, I actually don't know if there's a limit to this. Wow. This can get quite big, eh? Alright, so this is a bit scary. So because we don't want to ruin the game or destroy this, let's add like a limit to it, because I actually don't know what the limit of it is. So let's add a limit to it, so that when we click on it, it goes to that limit, and then it goes back down. So it grows, and then it diminishes in size, and it just goes in a loop. So let's go back to 1 here. I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna refresh the page too. There we go. Alright, let's go to Replit because it's gonna be a bit longer and easier to see. Alright, so how do we start this? So first off, we want to set up a variable that we're going to use to know whether the tree is growing. So I'm going to call it is growing. Perfect. I'm going to set it to true. It's true that it's growing. And now we can start. So if is growing, I don't have to set anything. If is growing, then we go with this, and else we can go up and negative. Perfect. So what that does is it checks whether it's growing or not, and then it diminishes or grows according to the value. However, as you can see, we're not changing that value, so it's going to grow continually. So we have to tell it when to stop growing. So if it's growing, then do that. But if let's use the x scale as a basis. So if the feature dot scale dot x is equal, not greater or equal to than 15, so 15 is our limit here, we are going to set is growing equal to false. I cannot spell is growing is equal to false. Perfect. So if it's growing, then it's going to be equal to false. and then this happens. So what, if you can see what happens here is it is growing, it's true. So what we say is that at 15 it's going to set it to false, but the software is still gonna run this this code right here. So what happens is that it's gonna be at 15. So 15 is going to be set to false, but then this happens, so it's going to be at 16. So it's going to start diminishing at 16, not 15. So if we want to change that, we can go to 14 here. So we guarantee that it's going to stop at 15. Alright, so now it's diminishing. It's going down, 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 down because it's running this code here. Now that it's false. The problem is that it's going to get lower than 1. It's going to be to 0, and at 0, it just the Vox model just disappears. It's not there anymore. So what we want to do is we want to go feature.scale.x. If it's lower or equal than 2, then we run this code. Oh no, is growing equal to true. There we go. So again, what that does here is if the scale is equal to 2 or lower than 2 just in case, but if it's equal to 2, then we set it to true. And the reason I put 2 here is that if I put 1, it's going to be 1, and then this code happens and everything goes to 0. It's going to be equal to 0 after that code, and we don't want that. So I'll put it to 2 here, so that way it guarantees that the minimum limit is 1. So I'm just gonna add a comment here that says that minimum is equal to 0, is equal to 1, max is equal to 15 in this case. Alright, so let's try that. The page did not load. Cool. Alright, so edit this, perfect, and then you go refresh the page. I'm gonna put F12 just in case. The console, it's telling me that there's no problem, so it should be alright. Alright, let's try that. Alright, so it's 15, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's growing and diminishing. Now let's see if it stops at 1. Yes, it does. So it's going to continue like that until we stop clicking. I'm just going to check something. So if you press E and click on the tree, you can see the scale here is 10. So now I'm going to continue clicking to see 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so it stopped at 14. It's at 14. Okay, so it's just that when I start counting, there's already one scale in, so I should start counting at 2, not 3. I should start counting at 2, not 1. Sorry. Cool, perfect. Well, this is working now. Watermelon is going to be happy about that. Sweet. Just go and put it there. Nice. Cool. Well, this is done. Hope you guys liked it, and enjoy your day.